Hi, this is our first UX designer interview. Thank you very much for coming.
Happy to be here. Hey everyone.
So, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, I'm Malin Sofrone. I'm a UX designer, UX UI designer in a small startup called Inventorum. We make POA, point of sale and cash register system. Yeah, and basically I worked there for past 2 years. Yeah, that's my main thing.
Cool. So, we are going to talk about your backgrounds. Like, how do you get into UX? And you're looking back at where you were. Is there any thing to make you to start in UX?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the whole background is very typical to UX as I usually know it. So I started with graphic design and so on. I mean, I studied industrial design in university, but it was very engineering. And gradually in time, I moved from graphic design to web design. And at one point, trying to explain to people why am I making these decisions, because something may look cool, but it might not make sense. I started reading about why do you put the menu and the logo and everywhere else,
Right.
and I discovered Don Norman and Jacob Nielsen and so on, and exactly. So I thought, they call this usability, and I thought, okay, this is interesting. And then when you make these decisions, how does this influence the business, and how does this influence development, and so on? And I discovered there's a whole area just for that. This has not so much to do with visual, but more with why and why you're doing this and how this integrates with the rest.
So it's like a reason for design, isn't it? Reasoning.
Yeah, I think that's very important. Otherwise, I mean, that's what I always try to explain to all the customers when I was working as a freelancer for 3 years. People always want to be different, but they don't know exactly how and why, and they just want to be different, mostly visual, but without any particular reason and without knowing that they heard some other thing. So, yeah, that was the whole the thing that led me to discover UX and basically do more of it.
Cool, thank you. So I know you're not from Berlin. Where are you from, and why do you end up in Berlin now? Like, is there anything attracting you here?
Yeah, Berlin is a totally great place to be. I mean, for me particular, of course, I've met people who are not necessarily, I don't know, they don't always enjoy it here. I personally enjoy it. How I got here, I'm originally from Romania, so that's in more East Europe part. And first time that I came here was in 2012. I worked with a small startup doing some infographics. I said it was okay, but didn't necessarily enjoy it. But at one point I decided I want to move from Romania to a place where there are more companies focused on design. There's companies that have enough money to experiment with projects. And I said, okay, I'm gonna move to UK. At one point I had some discussion with some friends, and they said, I don't think you're gonna like it there. And I said, okay, where can we move? And since I've been to Berlin before, I said, okay, let's try Berlin. A lot of people actually go in the south, where there are more companies and more money to be had. But just here it seems much more natural, because a lot of young people are coming here, and a lot of startups and so on, and just seemed the right place to start. And yeah, it is. Even after 2 years and a half or something, it's a great place.
So you're attracted by the energy, or like young energy from Berlin, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Berlin has a really great scenes. I mean, if you think about all the startups that are here and all the people that you meet, and you can exchange ideas, and you're like asking what are you working on, and new tools and new ideas and so on. Like this kind of stuff really makes it interesting to basically not sit in your home, just go out every time, because you're always gonna meet great people.
Thank you. So we're gonna move on to your design process, like your daily work. Can you tell us more about your typical day of work? Like, what is your main job duty as a UX designer in your company?
So I work in a team of two. I mean, for 1 year and some months, I was 1 year and a half. I was alone, so I was a UX team of one, like Leah Bully puts it. So basically, I was doing everything from usability and testing and all this kind of stuff, visual design. So from one end to another. I learned a lot from that. I actually enjoyed it, but at one point it got a bit more complex and a lot of stuff to do because basically we have different systems. So we have a product that works on iPad, we have a product that works on the web, we have an online shop. So there's a lot to do. So that's where my colleague from Brazil, Daniele, started, for example. Right. And in a typical day, basically, I wouldn't say there is one typical day because things change very fast. I mean, it's typical to a startup that things move very fast and it's very uncertain. You don't know always how things are gonna evolve. But I would say, I mean, if I am to start from the morning, it starts with like talking with my colleague and with the rest of the team, either through a stand-up and also exchange, see, okay, what are we working on and like what happened yesterday and a bit of that. And then what are the next steps and what do we want to work on today and recapitulate from yesterday. And then get on specific things, see if we can break it down into smaller chunks so that we can actually manage this whole thing. And basically if we're working on something specific and the problem is already defined, then we just try to do some wireframes together with developers, for example. Very important, I think, because you get a lot of feedback and so on from a technical perspective. If it's something more new or more complex, then we try to have some more discussions and to see if we define the problem clearly. Or if everything is much more evolved and doing some mock-ups, or if it's already mocked up and everything, try to do some testing with people, with customers, to see whether the solution we have makes any sense.
Right. So, is there any difference, or like, how do you collaborate with other developers and PM? I know you have to talk about you have to talk with them about the design problem or something. But is there any difference between your one-person UX team and like two-person UX team? Like, how is the dynamics between?
Definitely you can move much more faster if you are two people. That I know. First, you have a bit more breathing space, so you can actually spend a bit more time to think about the things you're trying to work on. So you don't always have to immediately start action and do different things, but you can actually spend time and think, what am I trying to do, understand the why and what and so on. And it's also very good to exchange ideas with someone. So someone would challenge and say, okay, why are we doing this? And like, does this make sense? And this sort of thing. So definitely helpful. First to communicate and exchange ideas, and to have a bit more breathing space because it's two people working in parallel, and things are much more fruitful, much more constructive.
Cool. So we have like emergency happening, so we have to switch venues, but
change background.
Yeah.
As you can see.
Yeah. So, how do you feel now?
Much more at ease.
Cool. So we're so happy. So we're gonna talk about like happiness. Is anything in UX that make you really happy?
Yes. The fact that actually, especially in the product that I work, you see people using the application and you see how much time it saves them. For me, I mean, to go to a very concrete thing, the fact that you see people using the application that I'm working on together with my colleagues, I mean, and to see how much time they can save and all this, the application making all their work much more easier, because otherwise you have to use pen and paper and track, okay, how many of these do I have and so on. And basically that's one of the core things that I like, because I used to work a bit more like advertising kind of stuff, and I didn't feel that, I personally, of course it might be different from person to person, I feel here that I'm actually helping the people that I work with or for, that we are creating the application for. And that's one thing that really makes me happy, because it gives me a better satisfaction in the work that I do. And actually it's fun. It's fun trying to, it's like a puzzle that you're trying to solve, and you see you solve the puzzle right, and like, okay, and then you're like, bring it on, the next challenge. And so that's pretty cool.
So you talk about challenge. What is the most challenging thing you have ever done, and do you learn any from it? Do you get any unexpected outcomes or benefits from it?
Challenging. Well, UX in general is challenging. Building software is tough because you don't have the answers. You're building sometimes software for something that never existed, and functionality that you cannot copy from somewhere else. Of course, you can borrow the principles from architecture or building cars or this kind of stuff, but some of the things you never created before. So that's of course challenging a lot of times, but I guess that's also what gives you the satisfaction, because it's like doing the marathon and finishing the marathon. It's challenging, but yeah, you get a lot of satisfaction at it. So UX feels a bit like that. Definitely challenging is to be able to get everyone around and agree and get everyone on the same baseline, whether it's business or development or the rest of the design team or whoever else is involved in it. That is also challenging, because not everyone speaks the same language, and that's, for example, one challenge that I face myself now. Is like one thing that I feel that I'm missing is like getting better at communicating both the stuff that we're working on our team, on the design team, but also getting everyone involved, because some people may talk more, some are much more better at arguing and bringing arguments to logic arguments, and some not so great, and then usually the one that wins are usually the ones that explain it better. Even though maybe the solution is not right for what you're trying to do. So that is, yeah.
But how do you get the consensus then, like if there's so much different opinions? It's the most difficult part, isn't it?
It depends. It depends on the situation. I mean, you always try to bring data if you have. Try to test. Of course, no matter how much you test, you can never have all the answers to everything. So if you have data, if you have tested, if you have talked to customer, if you have any feedback from sales, support, people that actually talk with the customers as well,
right.
It can help lead the way to finding a solution, but I don't think you'll ever find the place where you have everyone agreeing on everything.
Yeah.
No. Sometimes you have the CEO button. It says, "I want this," like changing something. Even he thinks that something make more sense, and sometimes it may make more sense, because what happens, like as a designer, I don't understand the business side and I don't understand the technical part, so everyone's arguments are also valuable. So that's one thing that I think is very, very valuable. But using tools and methods, so like trying to time frame, I mean, whatever for example, you read in books like Google Ventures, sprint design, for example, or design sprint.
Yeah.
So trying to time box, trying to split things, trying to define what exactly you're trying to do at this moment.
Right.
So because we are very good at spending 3 hours talking about something without any consensus. So 3 hours later, we're like, okay, we didn't agree on anything, and we don't know what the next steps are. So it's very valuable to try to guide the discussion. And I mean, UX is there to facilitate also, because every time I start a discussion, I don't have the answer. I just have some tools that I could use to help bring everyone together. So that's the whole thing.
Cool. So you talk about some books. Is it those books who helped you to have to make your job more efficiency, or you have other habits to actually make your job more efficiency?
Yeah, definitely have books. So books help a lot because basically I'm facing problems that other people have faced in the same field. So whether it's on user experience, on visual design, or on working together, like I said with Google Ventures, the design sprint, which has helped a lot because it put all the tools that I would use in certain situations, but put them in a way that it's like coherent and it's logic, and it helps, and it's quick to use because it's only 5 days. And I also take part in hackathons. That's really super helpful.
Cool.
I've been to a lot of hackathons, and so trying to build a product in like 24 hours for real. I mean, of course you're building a hack, but not a full product, so you cannot always spend 3 days on something to test it and so on. But like trying to do something in 24 hours, or trying to come up with I mean, you have the ideas from beforehand, but you're trying to see, okay, what are we trying to do, what are the things that we want to have here, what is the solution that we're trying to solve, trying to define clear what we're trying to do. Then you divide the work, because usually it'd be me as a designer and other developers.
Right.
And whether it's a hardware hack or software hack, and trying to do all this in 24 hours, so you have to quickly go into different stages very fast. You learn to be much more efficient with some things. You learn to not care about some things and move some others, fake some things. I've done this few times, 5 or 6 times.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's nice. Of course, it's tiring. After 2 days, you're a bit more like, like you're drunk.
But when you say 24 hours, do you mean like
Literally.
non-stop 24 hours or split into a weekend?
Yeah, so basically it starts Saturday morning or afternoon, let's say, and it ends the next day afternoon. So that means a lot of times, I mean, don't imagine, I think we did once try to do 24 hours, but it usually doesn't work that well, because if you're tired, you're like end up 4 a.m. in the morning, like, what am I trying to do here? But you learn after a while that, okay, when you are trying to do something for 5 minutes and you know that usually it takes you 1 minute to decide what you should do, that means you should go to sleep. So like usually 4 a.m. in the morning, you go to sleep until 8 or so, then you come back fresh, drink something, eat something, take a shower. Usually you can sleep there. Usually you can sleep there. So actually they've got, in some places they even had showers and so on. And food is provided, drinks are provided. So basically you don't have to go anywhere. You have internet. All you have to do is bring yourself a laptop, and that's it. For example, PayPal had a lot of cool startups, hackathons, Battle Hack and so on. It's 24 hours in which you sleep as much as you, not as much as you can, you work as much as you can, and you sleep when you can, sometimes on the chairs and so on. It's pretty cool. Of course, I wouldn't do it every week and then so on. But you learn a lot, because what happens is, like, when you're trying to create something so fast and you do it every time, you learn, okay, so here where I'm lacking, I should do more. Like, you learn that, like, for example, sometimes we would start with developers, we say, okay, I'm gonna start on design, you're gonna start on development, and then halfway through you meet to discuss again, and like you realize that you're designing something and they are developing something else, and then you realize, okay, so we're not aligned. So then next time you say, okay, let's define what we're doing, can we be more specific, and this kind of stuff. So because sometimes if you just really want to go fast and so on, because also you want to win, so because there are prizes, so you can need thousands of euros or VR stuff and so on. So it's really cool. I mean, it's
Nice.
And you want to win, so you go fast, but sometimes you go fast and like jump in the water without learning to swim a bit more in the beginning. So yeah, that's one thing that really challenges, yeah, and talking to a lot of people about exchanging ideas about design and so on, but not only, also with developers, because I've learned, especially on mobile platforms, the developers have a lot of good suggestions on interaction design because they know the system much better than anyone else. And you as a designer, you have to spend a lot of time to be able to understand the system, and they know it, and they always have a lot of good ideas. But that's also because the platforms as Google and Apple have guidelines much better than the web, so that also helps. Yeah.
Cool. So, can you say like hackathon is your hobby, or do you do anything else to help you to get inspiration of UX?
Yeah, I watch other people's work. I personally don't believe that. I don't know. I mean, going in nature helps, but not nature itself, but more like actually having your mind disconnected from some of the things. And of course, nature also they can disconnects you from the daily thoughts and so on.
Yeah.
Watching other people's work, watching a lot of videos. Whoop, we have a disc. Just a sec.
Should be fine.
All right. So,
Yeah.
coming back to this, the work of others, as I was saying, and reading books from other areas. So, like whether it's architecture or car manufacturing and this kind of stuff, also helps because a lot of the things that we are doing have been happening in other industries. So, like, how do you optimize your process? How do you get everyone on board? How do you get input from everyone? This is something that happens anywhere where people have to work together. So it's not something new in UX. So that's a very helpful things. Yeah, that's what comes to mind at the moment. Yeah.
Cool. So, what is your plan next? Do you have any project working on? Or are you going to work on your hackathon projects anymore?
No hackathons at the moment. No. I am working on a side project, some small application about trying to. It's more like trying to get the pulse of a startup, trying to get it daily, and to see. So because sometimes you have the problem if you're trying to for example, go in a company, you don't know what's going on there and so on, and you want to see. And then we were thinking maybe an application like this could maybe help, but yeah, there are a lot of challenges that we're facing, which we don't have the answer yet, and we're trying to get more questions and to ask more people about that. Yeah, that's pretty much it, because at the moment I'm really full with a lot of the work that I do at the current company, and I work that quite a lot. But I try to do side projects as much as I can. So whether it's with some developers, whether it's just with other designers, always trying to do something, because I think it helps to work, especially on very different projects, because you face problems that maybe you haven't faced, or you can experiment and try different things. So yeah. So it helps to see things from different perspectives. Like we started one day with one project, thinking, okay, we know exactly what we want to do, and what happened is that we spent the entire day discussing and debating and questioning everything. So at the end of the day, we didn't get anything done. But this kind of stuff helps you, because you're failing in small bits and pieces, and you learn that sometimes there are these kind of situations, and makes you think how you could solve some of these problems.
Cool. So I look forward to your app. I really want to know the other stuff of thing. And the last question would be what is your dream? Is there any dream things you want to achieve in UX?
Dreams, yeah, a lot of dreams. Dreaming is good. What I'm interested at this moment is trying to especially learn more about business kind of stuff, so more strategic stuff, which I think I'm lacking a lot of the knowledge of that, and trying to go more into service design. So the place where I feel that I could make an even better contribution than I am able to do now. But I also have to see, I always dream that I would like to do this and that, but I have to first see if I like it, and I have to also see if I'm fit to do this, because that's also the case. You're never, maybe I wanted to be a fighter pilot or something like that, fighter jet pilot, but I don't have the skills or something. So yeah, this is the direction that I'm hoping for, and trying actually as a very long term. I'm trying to see how I could take the work that I have, the experience, and apply it more in social entrepreneurship, because that's one thing that I am actually also very, very passionate about, the social part of anything that I do.
Cool. Yeah, I really like social enterprise as well. Like, it's what I want to do in the future as well. Yeah, I think like UX, you're kind of like helping like the world a little bit. So social enterprise is a really good sector that you're working for. So here is the audience for Q&A.
Let's hear it.
So there's one question from the audience. Is like, how do UX designer in Berlin exchange knowledge? Like, we met in the UX book club here. Is it one of the I don't know, like, ways of people exchange knowledge here?
Yeah, definitely. I think going to meetups is totally useful, because you meet a lot of people working in different companies, whether it's smaller or bigger. People from many different places of the world. Of course, at work I also have people from 15 other countries and so on. And another way is, of course, trying to also organize small events yourself with other people, because what happens is sometimes at a meetup maybe people either don't know each other, or depending on how big the group is, sometimes you don't feel confident enough, or like you want something a bit more intimate, so you want, or something where you feel safe enough to mention something, knowing that you won't make a fool of yourself or this kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. But meetups, I think, are the best way, because basically, whether it's a book, like we met, for example, the book club, which was for both of us first. I totally loved it, I have to say. I thought I'm gonna meet, I don't know, but totally great. But also other types of meetups. As I said, also trying to go maybe not directly only on UX, because sometimes your vision is like you lose sight of other things. So try to have maybe front-end development, maybe some strategy kind of stuff, and learn a bit from others. But mostly meetups, I think, are, for me especially, are the best way, whether it's on books or directly on a certain topic and so on. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think like in Berlin, meetup is like a really big thing here. Like, that meetup one day could be like 30, 40 different kind of meetup. It could be film, it could be like dancing, or like everything. So meetups definitely is a very good thing.
Yeah, that's why people have a lot of FOMO, so fear of missing out. So they register for a lot, but don't go to too many.
I do.
Yeah, so this happens a lot, but it's true. Like, if I compare back to with Romania, definitely. I mean, there you might have one a month, or one much more. Even if you take all the meetups all together, I was talking about UX only, but even if you take all the meetups, it's just a few in a month, so not so many. Maybe because it's, I don't know, not so popular yet, or so on. Every time I talk to people, I say, go to meetup.com, see if there's any meetup. If it doesn't exist, you do it. And
that's really cool. So, for pass along, I would like you to ask one question to next designer. What would you like to ask?
It's a good question. So, to keep the story going, I guess I'm interested, more personally, I would say, how they try to get everyone on board on the work that they do, and how does it work for them, how maybe some tools that they use or tips and tricks and this kind of stuff to get everyone on board, like in the discussion and so on, because we just agree that I personally think that it's very hard to get everyone, but I'm curious how they do it, whoever they get on board.
Cool. I will like ask the next designer. Hopefully, he or she can get you an answer for it. So that's it for our interview. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. I know you're super busy, but like that is very good insight.
My pleasure. It's always great to be able to exchange ideas with someone. I mean, mostly I did the talking now.
We will exchange.
I will exchange after this.
Yeah, we're going to meet up, UX designer meet up later on. We can exchange. It's just another minute for it.
Exactly. And I hope that everyone else is like gets excited about this and tries to create meetups there, for example. I don't know how many meetups are there, or like, do you have any ideas? Or
yeah, but like not much about UX, I guess.
So if one doesn't exist, you have to build it, and that's the next project for people that will watch the movie.
Yay! So do we say goodbye?
Hey, bye.
Bye.